everyone! So I was watching an interesting video from Vox recently on why you're probably not doing your dream job. And as I was putting together this video, I had to share the research with you all because it was just that compelling. In the first study, researchers tracked 8th graders' career ambitions and academic performance, then followed up to see how they did in college years later. They found that students who expected to pursue a career in the sciences but were average at math were much more likely to receive a science-related degree compared to those who were higher achieving but had no such ambitions. All of this to say that creating a vision for the future makes it more likely to turn into reality, even if objectively you might be at a disadvantage. But of course, vision alone is not enough. The power of vision is in orienting yourself to set goals and take action to bring that vision to life. And a study out of the UK explored exactly this problem. The British cohort followed participants from childhood for over 30 years. In this study, participants were also asked what they wanted to do when they grew up. But researchers also added another question, which is whether participants plan to pursue higher education. They found that youth who had misaligned aspirations, for example, wanting to become a doctor but having no plans to pursue college, experienced long-term deficits in employment stability and educational attainment. Unfortunately, this kind of misalignment between our vision and our goals is far too common. The purpose of this video is to set you up with a plan to make your vision a reality. We always want to begin with the end in mind. This kind of backwards planning is very helpful for goal setting in general. I like to start with long-term, i.e. 10-year goals, followed by medium-term 1 or 5-year goals, and finally short-term goals such as a quarter or 12-week year, which I will dive into in the next installment of this series. I've shared my experience doing a 12-week year on this channel before, and suffice it to say that I do think that 12 weeks is a great time scale for short-term goals, because it's long enough to make real progress, but short enough to remain focused. Additionally, I think it's important to frame all of this backwards planning properly. As you get further out in time, your goals can and should become fuzzier. There are too many variables 10 years from now that you are not going to be able to predict for you to perfectly get things down to a T. But at the same time, it's still very important for bigger goals such as buying a house or applying for medical school that you plan ahead. Now, for long-term goals, I think it's helpful to break things down into 4 dimensions: where, who, how, and with whom. For example, where do you want to live and who do you want to be 10 years from now? To help with this, I like the exercise of writing your own eulogy. If you passed away, how would you want to be remembered? I find that thinking about this helps me to focus on what really matters to me and cut out any superficial goals. Next, how do you want your everyday life to look like, and with whom do you want to be sharing your life with? I bring this up because our close relationships are some of the most vital things for our well-being, but are often overlooked. Not only that, but making decisions to be with someone, whether that means moving across the country to be where all your friends are, or deciding to have kids, are the kinds of decisions that often require the most time and effort. All the more reason to think about it carefully so that you don't have any regrets. So now you have your long-term goals. What's next? Well, remember the British cohort study? Our plans need to be in line with our vision in order to see results. That's where backwards planning really shines. For medium-term goals such as 1-year or 5-year goals, I tend to break them down more granularly into life categories that matter to me. Those might be health, relationships, or finances, for example. Then I like to put them on a calendar or a timeline. For the past few years, I've been using the free planner templates from Anja Home, and I'll link them in the description below. I also want to mention how important it is to understand what your true goals are, because as the world around you changes, having a mindset that is too limited, such as I need to get a job at this particular company, can become a disadvantage. Back when I was in business school, this concept was nicely illustrated with the example of Uber. Now, I don't necessarily support Uber, but I do think that it's been highly successful in expanding its business from the original premise of ride-sharing to now being involved in food delivery and other modes of transportation such as electric scooters. And back when I was at Haas, we discussed how part of this success was because of the fact that Uber kept its mission statement broad, focusing on movement rather than this particular tool of ride sharing. This concept really stuck with me and is why when I set long and medium term goals, I tend to try to think of them more broadly. I'm not saying that highly specific goals are bad, and I do set those kinds of goals myself as well, but I do think it's worth evaluating whether you really do need this one specific achievement or if it's just one of multiple paths that can get you to where you really want to go. In closing, setting long-term goals is the first step in turning your vision into reality. We talked about how having a misaligned vision and goals can lead to negative long-term consequences, and how backwards planning can be a useful tool to keep your goals aligned. We also talked about exercises such as writing your own eulogy to keep you focused on what really matters. Finally, we discussed the importance of evaluating what your true goals are and keeping your mission statement broad so that you can be flexible when things change. That is all for today's video, everyone. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if there are any tools that you're planning to try or any goals that you want to share. Bye!